All right, this is my last try. So the YouTube chat box, I can move it, I can put it away. It's the one that belongs to OBS. I can only check it when I pop back into OBS. So I don't like that at all. Hmm. Yeah, I still got some things to figure out. So I'm pretty sure that if you type something, I'll be able to see it in the OBS chat box. But for some reason, it's not popping up on my other YouTube chat box either. What the hell's going on? So I'm just gonna wait to see if somebody types something. I want to see what's working, what isn't, and why. What was I able to do the last time that I can't figure out right now? Hey, what's up, Dylan? Okay, I can see your chat. I can see your. Okay, it's not popping up on the YouTube chat, but it's popping up on my OBS chat. The last time I was live streaming, I was able to use the YouTube live chat because that one I can actually tuck it away and navigate through Twitter or YouTube or whatever. But the only time I can see you guys now, hey, what's up? I can see the chat, but only in OBS. So I can't go around and navigate YouTube and Twitter. So I don't know what happened. Why is this not working? All right, so at least I could read your chats in OBS. Man, that sucks. Yeah, I can't. I'm not going to be able to. Yeah, well, it's not. Thanks, Volts, by the way, for trying to help me. Yeah, I could read your comments, but I'm stuck in OBS. I can't navigate YouTube or Twitter because the chat box for OBS, when I try to like tuck it into my the window part, yeah, technology. But I'm the one that can't figure this shit out. So it was working last time. So yeah, I got out of it and then I hooked YouTube back up. I reconnected so I can go on. Let me see, World of Outlaws. Nah, man, I'm not. World of Outlaws. I'm not. I've never been a dirt racing fan, and I don't know much about World of Outlaws. I have watched like What If Racing, play World of Outlaws. It does look like some fun, and it looks like a very polished, high quality product. But I don't have the time to really invest in playing something unless I'm really interested in playing the game. I've been spending most of my time on iRacing, NBA 2K. I'm still playing Red Dead Redemption and even Max Payne 3. I still play that game. I don't have a lot of extra time. So if I am going to play something else on top of everything, it really has to be something that I'm dying to play. Yeah, World of Outlaws looks really solid and like a very polished, high quality product. But, it's just not my cup of tea. But I've watched What If Racing and I've watched a couple of other videos from other people. Yeah, it looks like a top notch game. Yeah, it's just weird, man. Like, why can I not see you guys chatting on the YouTube chat box? That one I can control. I could move it. I could tuck it away. And the problem is, if I want to go Wreckfest, well, I play Wreckfest. That's another game I play once in a while, but I haven't tried the mods or anything. The Wreckfest I play on is on the PS5. I haven't played it on PC, so mods are pretty much out the question. But I have seen some footage of people playing with NASCAR mods. It looks really good. So let me try to. I'm gonna try something else. All right, so that chat box is not working. Here, bear with me. Do you have YouTube chat docked on OBS? That's what I'm looking at right now. This is a direct from YouTube chat box. The problem is this chat box, I can't minimize it. I can't move it like to outside of the OBS um window. Like I kept trying to do that like I could with the YouTube chat box. I can minimize it and tuck it away and then put it in a different window. So I have to figure out how to do this. I did it the last time. I could have sworn I did it. So I just got to keep playing with it. Unfortunately, I don't want to sit up live on YouTube looking like a fucking idiot trying to figure this out. Like this is fucked up. I'll figure it out, and I'm still kind of new to this. And then like the last time I did a live stream where I was using the chat box, when was that? That was like a week ago, more than a week. So by the time I do it again, I like forgot what the hell I did. So that's old people problems, and it's only gonna get worse. So yeah, thanks for bearing with me. It's just a handful of you guys that are willing to sit through this, so I don't blame people for just like not doing it. So let me try to minimize. Let me see. Hold on. I can minimize this. Oh, okay. So you know what? I'll do this. Uh, okay. So I can actually scroll here. All right. World of Wait a minute. Can I do this? Oh no, I won't. Sorry. I thought I could minimize the YouTube window and then move it in there. But as soon as I click on that, I'll figure it out at some point. But you guys can actually see me scrolling. Yeah, World of Outlaws has late models on asphalt. Yeah, I did see that might be the only thing I would want to try, but uh yeah, only a lot of rumor going around about a new dirt to Daytona kit. Yes, I did see. You know what? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me hold on. Let me go to Twitter. I could have sworn I did see. Yeah, Dale Jr. posted. Uh, all right, that's not gonna. I don't have time to look for all that. But hold on. Okay, let me minimize that again. Yeah, Dale Jr. did post like a teaser. It was just a tease, but I know Dale has he has a relationship with iRacing. He's very involved with them. Has been since the beginning. And I why would he tease something like that unless he had some information? Let's see. What is the topic? No topic. I'm just trying to mess around with the live stream. I'm still having issues trying to figure out how to work things. And yeah, if there's anything you guys want to bring up, I'll talk about it. There's nothing. This is kind of a shoot the shit little session. Yeah, so I'm just having some difficulties. I was able in the past to get the YouTube chat box to work, and now I can only see you guys the chat in the OBS window. Sorry, so it's giving me a hard time navigating. But yeah. So Steve from iRacing said it, and now everyone is going crazy. What? What do you mean, Steve? Who's Steve? Who's Steve from iRacing? Sorry, I'm never here. Yeah, I mean, I don't really plan on doing live streams. I felt like doing it. So yeah, welcome to the chat. Is there a definitive place with all silly season moves for all the national three national series? No, I don't. I don't know. But Dylan, who's Steve from iRacing? And what do you mean everybody's going crazy? Did I miss something? I didn't catch anything. Let me know because if I can go and if I have to, I'll go look for it. Yeah, but it was a hell of a tease by Junior, and maybe he knows something. Who knows? I think honestly, iRacing and Monster Games, which is part of iRacing, I just think they're waiting. They're waiting for Motorsport Games to finally kick the bucket. Until they do, but yeah, as I told you guys, Brian France, he's keeping Motorsport Games alive. He's not pulling the plug. He's keeping the machine running because he's a big investor. And honestly, it just that whole thing feels to me like there's something, if not illegal, highly inappropriate. You know, you got Brian France, who's the heir to the throne of NASCAR, even though he's not officially running things there. Everybody knows he still has a lot of clout with NASCAR. So he's not the face of NASCAR, but that's really all PR. Anybody who thinks Brian France isn't deeply involved with NASCAR to this day is a fool. And the fact that he's a major investor, he's the CEO of that Falcon Capital investor company, and they are investors in motorsport games. Doesn't take a genius to connect the dots, and he obviously is the man, the link between NASCAR and motorsport games in terms of keeping them alive. And that's why you don't hear anymore about NASCAR and those rumors that went away real fast about them wanting to pull out from the license. That's my assessment anyway. Rumor only going around about a new Dirt to Daytona game. Well, I did see Junior's tweet about it, but to me, it was just a tease. Like, hey, just to gauge how people would react. And I'm not surprised. Everybody they're excited just to hear the tease. But I think that if and when Motorsport Games kicks the bucket, that's when you're going to get like news like, oh, okay, iRacing's taking over. And to me, that's the only developer that I would want to see tackle a NASCAR game. There's nobody else out there unless you want to see another small startup developer. I don't think anyone wants to see that again. It's going to be another baby step evolution. And I think people they're just done with that. Okay, is there a definitive place where all silly? I don't know what that means. Yup, he's just quiet now. Who's quiet? Not illegal, just highly inappropriate. NASCAR slogan. But that's my point. Yeah, it's like there's nothing illegal, I guess, but it's in a way it's sort of like insider information, right? Or insider trading where you're not supposed to buy stock if you have information or you're a part of like within that link of let's say a company and you got inside information and you're buying or selling stock based on that information, that is illegal. So I'm not saying this is the same thing, but it is inappropriate that you were the CEO of NASCAR and then you're kind of not there anymore. But that's just PR. Anybody who thinks Brian France is completely detached from NASCAR, that's not the case. This is all PR. It's just he's not the face of NASCAR. So he's definitely got a lot to say. And as an investor with motorsport games, and there's only a handful of investors with motorsport games, and they're all big multimillionaire types. You don't see a lot of small investors like average people like us investing and buying shares of stock. That's how you know it's this company is just a house of cards and it's going to collapse at some point. We got a new and improved dirt to Daytona in like 2017, 2018, 2019. I don't know what that means. Yeah, Motorsport Games did their BS reverse split. Yes, I heard about the reverse split. It's a 110, whatever that means. Look, I'm not an expert on the stock market, but I'm going to let you guys, in layman's terms, know what's happening, right? I don't understand the 110 reverse stock split, but I know the end result. At the end of the day, what's going on is Motorsport Games has not been able to maintain um, that $1 minimum threshold of a per share, right? It's been below $1 for a certain amount of time, and by rules, I think you're not you can't you get knocked down from the actual public trading status. Um, I'm not wording this correctly. It's really confusing. And if you don't fully understand the stock market, it is going to be confusing. But the bottom line is that whole reverse split bullshit they're doing. It is a way to artificially inflate the value of the stock, right? So it's sort of like it to me. It sounds like a scam. It's legal, right? For in the world of Wall Street, you're allowed to do these things, but none of it to me sounds kosher. It just sounds dirty. It sounds dishonest. It is dishonest, right? The value of the stock has not gone up. So this reverse stock split shit is just it's all about window dressing. It's just meaningless, and I suppose it's a way for the public to think that the stock went up in value somehow. None of it matters. This is really, they're drowning and they are desperate, and this is just some shady shit going on. This isn't going to work. You're not going to get people to look at that and jump in the water. So you'll see that, and the gamblers, investors are biting. Are they biting? Article saying the stock is up 1,400% without mentioning the split. That's my point. It's a way to artificially increase the value of the stock. Now, there are many ways to artificially increase the value of stock, but it's illegal. A lot of these things are illegal. You're not supposed to be able to do that. But this reverse stock split seems to be like a loophole of some kind. It's all bullshit. He's just not in the media anymore, but he's doing things behind closed doors. Yeah, Brian France is still linked to NASCAR. You don't. He's the heir to the throne. This is still a France family business. So, hello, son. Heat 2, Heat 3, and Heat 4 were all just massive overhaul of Dirt to Daytona. Yeah, I guess they had a lot of similarities, but the thing is, Dirt to Daytona is still curb stomps Heat 2, 3, and 4. It is deeper, it is more immersive, it is still a better product. So even though it's kind of built along that same DNA, it's not. It doesn't even match Dirt to Daytona. Dirt to Daytona, and that's a game. It's weird that that's popping up now, but most of the time I've talked about like NASCAR Thunder 2004 as being the top of the line NASCAR game of all time, but Dirt to Daytona was right there neck and neck with NASCAR Thunder 2004, and that was a great game. So I haven't talked enough about that game. 10 to 1 reverse split means they bundle up 10 shares and count them as one, artificially inflating the price of the stock. So even though I'm not an expert, I don't know like all the technical shit of Wall Street, I do understand the end result. So you're not going to fool me. I don't have to be an expert on Wall Street to know that this reverse split bullshit they did, and thank you, John Public, for explaining it. They take 10 shares and bundle them as one share. I don't, how is that fucking legal? That is another form of inflating the value of stock artificially. Why is that legal? It's to pump and dump. That's right. They're these investors, okay? Like let me explain this in a different way. Let's look at Coca-Cola, right? Everybody knows Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is a massive corporation, but they have mostly small investors, okay? So let's just say Coca-Cola has 1 billion shares. I'm just throwing a number out there. These aren't real numbers. I just want to show you a comparison. And then Motorsport Games has 1 million shares. Okay? No, let's just take 1 million shares of Coca-Cola versus 1 million shares of Motorsport Games. Out of that million shares, okay, of Motorsport Games stock, let's say 80% of that is big investors. And it's made up of 6, maybe 7 people, actual investors, right? That hold the majority of the stock. And then you got another 15, 20% that's just average people who bought up X amount of shares. Maybe they bought up $5,000 of shares or whatever. And then Coca-Cola has also 1 million shares, but maybe 30, 40% of that is really big investors. While the vast majority of the shares are held by average shareholders. Anybody can go and buy a few shares, right? Both companies have the same amount of shares, and even if they're valued equally in terms of per share, like let's say Coca-Cola's at you know, it's not at $1 a share, but let's just say it's $1 and then Motorsport Games is at $1. Coca-Cola is way more valuable because there's more actual different investors involved, smaller investors. Motorsport Games is barely held together by a handful of people. Brian France is one of those people with that Falcon investing. I forgot the name. I did a video on it earlier. There's a difference. Even on paper, if you could say, oh, they're both worth the same, they're not. There's a big difference. This is why all the major companies that people respect because they have a long-term history of value, those companies all have more small investors. These overnight, fly-by-night companies that are put together and are trading, and those companies are only held together by a handful of people. There's a big difference, and that's why companies that are long standing and have a lot more success have a lot more small investment. So this pump and dump that they're doing, they're trying to get a few suckers in. They just want to sell as quick as they can and minimize their losses. This might be their last ditch effort. This is not good. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that podcast. Dale Jr., Brian France. Yeah, but I don't know what he's gonna ask. It's just gonna be NASCAR stuff, the car of tomorrow, because that was one of his big things. What caused them to leave? Are they gonna get into the details of the DUI? Maybe, right? Um, you're not gonna hear anything about his investment in video games or any or the licensing. None of that stuff is going to be a part of it. I can almost guarantee it. But I am interested to see it. It's like a waiting for a car wreck. Kind of like with GameStop deal when people were messing with stocks. Thank you. Great example. Average people like you and me got together and they said, let's go and buy stock in GameStop. GameStop was a horrible, uh, it is a horrible company, and their shares were really bad, right? It's one of those companies that I don't know if there's how they're still around in business because that the whole business model is outdated. It's like Radio Shack, right? Radio Shack eventually just collapsed. Radio Shack used to be a thing. It just isn't anymore. That's just they became outdated. So a bunch of average people got together, bought a bunch of stock in GameStop, and artificially inflated the value of the stock. So this is not something that the wealthy want us getting in on. They don't like that. See, the thing about Wall Street that I'm going to let you guys in on, I mean, I'm sure most of you already know this, but some people don't realize Wall Street is nothing but a casino. That's all it is. It's a casino, and they're using uh, real life businesses, right? And they're just really based on speculation on where these companies are headed, and the value goes up and down, and people they gamble on it, right? You buy shares hoping that the value is going to go up and you make money. Vice versa, you could lose money. It's a casino. The difference is, right? These casinos, Wall Street is rigged to benefit the wealthy. So there's an old saying, I'm sure you've all heard it. You have to spend money to make money. Well, in order to spend money, you got to have money. Who has money? We're just average working class folks, right? If you got maybe 20 grand stuffed away in the bank, that's your life savings. Maybe you're not going to go and buy a shitload of shares in Wall Street because it's a gamble. You could lose it all. And then what do you have? You can't survive. The people that can afford to go take a bath in Wall Street, lose a lot of money, and it doesn't really affect them, are rich people. But see, Wall Street's rigged. There's all kinds of loopholes. You see what these people are doing with this stock split? Well, this is how rich people make money. Everything's rigged. You think that they're going to allow you and me to go there and play by their rules? These people that went, they bought all this GameStop stock. What happened? The SEC stepped in and they clamped down on what these people were doing. They weren't doing anything illegal. What they did was perfectly legal. But see, these people in Wall Street, they don't like that. When they start seeing average people learn how to game the system that the same way they do it, they immediately put a stop to it. It's not for you and I. We can go buy stock, but this idea that you're going to get rich overnight because you just bought the right stock and it skyrockets overnight, that's a dream. That stuff rarely, if ever, happens. The people that make all the real money in Wall Street are already wealthy. These are millionaires who can afford to go in and say, buy $250,000 of stock of something, and if it tanks, they have other investments. So as much money as they lose, they're winning. They're making it on this side, right? They don't put all their eggs in one basket. They got a shitload of eggs, and they put it everywhere. So they can gamble. They can take a loss, but they're still in the game. The people that make the most money in Wall Street are already wealthy. It's not rigged in our favor. It's rigged in their favor. So it's one big casino. There's a lot of shenanigans going on, and that's why all of this shit with these investors, they're a bunch of rich douchebags, and they're getting away with a lot of bullshit. So when these people went in and inflated the value of GameStop stock, and all they did was go in and buy in bulk in, overnight. They did it. They just all got together collectively, went in, bought a shitload of stock, and that in and of itself inflated the stock. And all these people on Wall Street were like, what the fuck's going on over here? Wait a minute. There's a bunch of guys from fucking Reddit doing this shit? Put a stop to it. Even though they're not doing anything illegal. But they got away with it. And the SEC steps in and they just shut them down. And nobody... Who cares? It's not for us. So I got a little lost there, but I'm just trying to remind people Wall Street is a big casino. That's all it is. And it's for rich people. It's a playground for rich people. They're the ones making all the money. Brian France is so full of himself. Yeah. I'm interested. I'm curious to see him on the podcast, but he's going to bullshit. He's going to give you some political, a lot of this. I'm just curious to see what Junior is going to actually ask him. Like a Kodak 1 hour kiosk. Dale should ask Brian France if his favorite crack flavor and about his dealer. Yeah, sure. But by the way, if you think Brian France is the only fucking cokehead in NASCAR, different classes of stock, there are investments you can't take part in unless you're already rich. That's my point. These fucking people, it's a club, it's a big club, and it's not for you and I are not in it. These people with money, they don't want people having a bigger share of the pie. I think it'll be the best Junior podcast ever. Yeah, I've seen a few of the podcasts. I like, he's got a really good thing going there. They're always interesting. Um, yeah, I would have loved to have seen Jeremy Mayfield and Brian France together on the same podcast. That would be interesting. I would pay to see that. I've never lost money on any stock investment. Only made money. Made 20K profit, but only bought and sold a few times ever. Well, then you're lucky. You're lucky because it's a casino. It's a casino, and you got lucky. The longer you stay there and the more you play, you're gonna lose. The house always wins, unless you're wealthy, and then you can game the system. But congratulations to you, man. 20K profit. That's most people don't do that. Yeah, man. I would pay to see that. Jeremy Mayfield and Brian France. I would love, and then throw in Ray Evernham and Aaron Crocker. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about, so that would be interesting too. But yeah, I was excited when I saw that tweet. It's nice that Dirt to Daytona, and like I said, Dale Jr. has a connection with iRacing, and I think if there's anything in the background, maybe just talks, right? Maybe they're just preparing and saying, um, they're on deck. They're waiting for the hitter to strike out so they could step up. And I think that's what they're waiting for. I think anybody who knows what's going on in the gaming industry, they know what's going on. Motorsport games is just, they're going to drag their feet all the way to the grave. So they're not going to just voluntarily pull the plug. I get it. But everybody's watching. They know. What the fuck are they doing? What do they have in the pipeline? In the beginning, they made all these announcements. We haven't heard another word about BTCC. Um, Kartcraft is not going to keep motorsport games afloat. This whole esports bullshit, it's a big fucking failure. Nobody cares about esports. And that was their number one bread and butter thing coming in. They really thought they were going to parlay the NASCAR game into a vehicle to get people into esports. You can't do that if your main product is garbage. So yeah, I don't know what else to say, man. I still see from time to time people bring up EA, and I keep telling people EA is the one of the worst gaming companies. And by the way, they just I just recently heard they canceled Project Cars, the series. They buried it. So what is Codemasters? I guess they're only going to make F1 games, and that's all EA is going to ask of them, and that's it. Project Cars is dead, and they already trashed that series with the third game. So that's the company some people want making NASCAR games. You got to wake up. It's not 20 years ago anymore. That EA is long gone and dead. So I still see people bring that up from time to time. Just want to hear Dale Jr. say Motorsport Games is a load of crap on his podcast. Yeah, you know what? I'll be shocked if he even mentions. Brian France is not going to be there to talk about games. He's just an investor, and I don't. They're not going to touch that subject. Best thing ever would be Smoke in there during France's interview. He has a lot of beef with the way things have gone. Yeah, yeah. Tony Stewart is not a fan, so that would be great too. You could almost put anybody in there. No, who likes Brian France? He doesn't have a lot of allies, so you could just pretty much get anybody in there. You see a NASCAR career mode where you can run part-time or select races in the lower series while you run full-time cup. Plus, need full pre-race ceremonies. I've been talking about this for years, Brad. So I don't know if you're new, but I've been doing videos for 10 years. I've been talking about things like pre-race, post-race, presentation, interviews, a deeper career mode. It's just so many things I've talked about through the years and just basic stuff. None of it's rocket science. Just do what other sports games do. Look at the NBA 2K series. There's nothing better than that in terms of presentation. You get your interviews, face scanning. You could play as yourself. I mean, what's cooler than that? And nobody's doing it. And you would think after all these years of making NASCAR games, these guys act like they don't have a fucking clue. They don't know what to do with these games, and I'm trying to tell them. So, Project Cars was good. It was good. Yeah, the first two games, the second game was really the best one. The third game, I don't know what happened. EA took over, and they released a game that really had almost nothing to do with the first two games. They just took it in a whole new direction. A lot of people hated it, and I don't know why you don't build on something that's already working. And it actually had the only game that had like a virtual engineer, right? Which I've been asking for a virtual crew chief that helps you with your setups and actually be part of your career mode, that you can answer questions and they can make adjustments to the car just based off of that, and you can learn. That's a natural fit for a NASCAR game, and it would give you so much more immersion, and you would actually enjoy spending time in practice, running laps, and then driving back to the pits, and then telling the crew chief, okay, I'm really tight on entry. And then he could say, okay, well, we can do this, this, and this, and we can loosen up the car and get your entry into the corner better and get the car to turn better on entry. But it's also going to affect this, and then you could choose from that. We saw things like that with Project Cars 2. And even though it was at a minimum, like it was the first level of it, but I was like, man, I can't wait to see Project Cars 3 because they could take that shit to a whole new level. And it wasn't to be. So, do you think Rockstar Games is losing their ways? Yeah, they've been losing their ways for a while now. Like, Red Dead Redemption 2 is still in my opinion the greatest video game I've ever played. Um it's a masterpiece. But how they handle the entire project, like the online is garbage, and they're trying to repeat what they did with GTA 5. And they're going to keep trying to repeat it. And that's why GTA 6, they're saying they're building a game that they hope is going to last, I think, 10 years or whatever, and it probably will. Or even longer. I could have sworn they maybe 20 years they mentioned, but it's a shame, um everything is about microtransactions and getting people to spend money on bullshit, and they're making a killing, so they're going to keep doing it. So yeah, they're kind of losing their ways. Not even sure Codemasters would do a NASCAR game justice. Yeah, when it comes to Codemasters, I'm strictly looking at the game. What was it, like from 2 3 years ago? um it's a very deep and immersive career mode for Formula One, and they have even wind tunnel testing. It is so deep, and I just would love to see that formula put into a NASCAR game. So if you were asking me 3 years ago, do you want Codemasters making a NASCAR game? Yes, but not anymore. They're owned by EA. That company, you could kiss it goodbye, you know, for what you saw. So yeah, the only hope we have really is iRacing. That's it. iRacing, and it's gonna be quite a few years before we even get a new game from someone else. So we're in a bad state right now. 100% agree. Been watching you for quite some time. To say you speak your mind in almost every video. I have a list of things a mile long I feel like they could do. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's so many things these people can do with a NASCAR game, and even if you don't want to listen to somebody like me, just go back and just look at Dirt to Daytona and copy that model and just modernize it. Or NASCAR Thunder 2004. It's pretty simple. That's what people want. I don't understand. Well, I do kind of understand. They're just focused on fucking online and fucking now esports and all this other bullshit, DLC, meaningless bullshit. It's a shame, man. I just so stupid. We're in 2022 and this is where we at. Yeah. Don't even get me started on EA. Since mid 2000s, they became a monster, shadow of their former selves. It was a light switch. Yeah, and I think a lot of people forget how far downhill the NASCAR games turned into after like 2006. 2006 might have been the last decent game, right? It was already going downhill. It was 2004. 2005 was almost as good, but it was slightly not as good. And then 2006, and then after that, it just went downhill. And I swear, man, by 2008, 2009, people hated it. I remember people complaining, and I was like one of those people. And then we didn't get anything for a year, and then that's when Technics came along, and it's just never been the same. But EA was already a failure with NASCAR games, um, for quite a while. The Thunder series was it, and I think people just they still have this thing like, oh, if EA starts making NASCAR games again, it's gonna be like the Thunder series again. No, it's not. Those people that worked on that, they don't even work at EA anymore. They all left. They branched out. These people don't stay in the same place for more than a few years. Then they move on to some other company. Gaming companies don't think of the gamer anymore. 22, so I started with PS2, DS. We had things so good back then. Yeah, you know what? The PlayStation 2 era is still the golden age of gaming, in my opinion. I don't care what you're talking about. Tomb Raider, um, Siphon Filter. These are games I used to fucking play. Um, all the Grand Theft Auto games, the Warriors, everything Rockstar made. Um, there was so many different games, and they were all great. Why? Because back then, online multiplayer was not a thing. These developers actually all they had was the game, the main game, and they had to make sure it worked. They can't release something and then fix it later because patches weren't a thing back then. So video games were just better, and they just felt deeper and more immersive. Um, a lot of the games they had more levels. They were longer. It took a longer time to finish these games. I remember for some games I actually needed one of those. They used to sell these magazines, um, and it was a walkthrough about some games like Tomb Raider, and it had the whole walkthrough, and there were areas of the game that were actually hard, and you could get lost, and you just couldn't figure out certain things, and you needed help. Nowadays, you just jump on YouTube and you get all your answers. So technology has gotten better, but a lot of things have gotten worse. Video games, unfortunately, are worse. They look better visually, but the actual games, they're just not as good. Don't even get me started on EA. Yeah. It said how many gaming companies, how many to. I'd love to see Codemasters try over motorsports games. It'd be an improvement, but yeah, I don't see it happening either. Maybe gameplay wise, they do it justice. Have they done oval racing? Yeah, I don't know, man. Codemasters, I don't see it, man. I don't see it. I just think EA controls everything. And look at what happened to Project Cars. That's all EA. That's EA. That's all EA's fingerprints all over it. And if you're a hardcore Project Cars fan, you're sitting around now. You're stewing because it's gone. It's over. '08 and '09 is when things got weird. Yeah, people rave about 2009 and the online, but that was the only good thing about that game. That's it. The career mode was trash. It just wasn't anywhere near what the Thunder series was. The last EA that was decent was Chase for the Cup. Yeah, that was a good game. 2005 was good. It wasn't as good as 2004, but it was just starting to go downhill. But it was good. I remember they have the trophy room. We don't even get shit like that anymore. It's just fucking stupid. I always hated fake drivers with all the real drivers. Yeah, I don't mind fake sponsors. I don't mind fake drivers. I think the licensing has also created a big problem with game development. These guys have to check and recheck everything because of licensing. There's things they want to do and they got to hold off because of sponsors or other things. I wouldn't mind seeing somebody develop a completely fantasy based stock car racing game. Fantasy everything. I don't care. I don't need licensed shit. It's nice to have it, but if it presents an obstacle for developers, then fuck it. And that's actually one of the things I liked about Dirt to Daytona and the phony sponsors. And I remember some of the sponsors were funny. It's just cool stuff. And yeah, if you get some fake drivers in there, who cares? As long as the AI is fun to race against and the career mode is deep and immersive, who cares? Having to get licensed everything, it's not easy. It's a big obstacle. And I even remember Technics constantly mentioning that. Every time they were talking about certain things that they couldn't get done on time. I remember that. And it was licensing problems here and there, and it's taking long because of this, or the patch didn't see, we couldn't get it approved because it didn't meet somebody's requirements. Licensing is a pain in the ass. So, oh wait, and the worst driving you could flip at any time. Yeah, I don't even remember those games because I played them, and then once I saw how bad they were, I just stopped playing them. I didn't put the same amount of time into those games as I did with the earlier games. 100 drivers. I don't remember. I mean, my memory isn't the best, so there are probably details I forgot. Yeah, I don't remember everything, but yeah. Look, what if just updated? I mean, he just uploaded. Hold on a second.
You're witnessing greatness. Look in the mirror, that's my motivation, yeah.
I'm not gonna show the whole thing because it's his.
Hey guys, what if here, and welcome back to World of Outlaws Dirt Racing Criminals.
Yeah, it looks like a
part number
good game.
13, starting season 4.
Look at the.
No, I mean we're running.
They got a lot of tracks.
See how much better we do versus what we did last season. I like.
Yeah, I don't want to get what if mad. This is his.
Really going under the corner. Damn, that's fifth. We're not clear.
It's his stuff.
Maybe
Yeah,
clear him off
go
the
check it
corner.
out, man. But look, my live stream and all right, this is weird. All right, there's a lot of crap on. Oh, let's see. Be cool with a generic type of game. Yeah, you know what? I don't. If somebody made, let's say I just hit the lottery, and I got a bunch of guys who really know how to program, and I said, okay, let's make a stock car racing game, completely made up tracks, made up drivers, made up sponsors. Everything is complete fantasy. But here's what you're going to get with that game. You could scan your face in the game so you can play as yourself. And it's going to matter because the presentation in the game is going to have you doing interviews, going on talk shows, interacting with the owner, your crew chief, your spotter, throughout the game, just like we see in like NBA 2K, where you see yourself in the game. Um, have a kick-ass paint booth where you can also like maybe use a program like trading paints and upload it into the game. And let's see, have that interactive crew chief that actually helps you with your setups. So you don't have to be a fucking wizard or go fucking research shit just to get the car to handle a certain way. And the game actually teaches you something and you learn, but it's also immersive. And you can be an owner, you can sign drivers, you could fire people, and you could be an owner, driver, or just an owner. You could spectate. Um, Full stats, pre-race, post-race presentation, where the announcers actually talk about you, how you're doing in the season, what place you're in the point standings after the race. If you have contact with another driver, sometimes maybe that driver approaches you in the pits as you get out the car, and maybe there's a little shoving match or something, right? Uh, Whatever. I mean, wouldn't you rather play a game like that? And then you can play online and you can create your own season online and you can race people and have a point system and everything where you can have it where people they sign up to your league and you have a schedule and you have points and a championship and it's also supported with some presentation when you win a race. Wouldn't you rather have that, or you have to have a licensed game that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do want everything licensed, but I'm just saying, if you do something that's based on fantasy, then you can do whatever you want. You don't have to double check, right? You got some fake sponsors. There's nobody to call you and say, "Hey, you can't do that." I don't want you to do that. That's just me. We've seen football games that are complete fantasy based, some really good ones. I forgot the name of one of them. Great game. You could make your own franchise from the ground up, create your own team, name, and everything. It's just 40 plus real Cup Series drivers, 30 truck. Have a multi car teams and full fire suit, helmet, gloves, customization. Yeah, I've been talking about this for years. They weren't even thinking of customizing helmets or fire suits. And I kept talking about it and talking about it. And finally, 704 finally implemented some of these things, right? I'm not saying they did it because of me, but who else was talking about that? Nobody else was talking about that. I was. And I kept saying, why can't you should be able to customize the fire suit. They never got to do the helmet, but that's another thing. Um, just little simple details like that. They couldn't think of that. It took me to yell about it for 4 or 5 fucking years straight. It shouldn't be that way. I don't know who's running all this shit. Huge fan of the channel, Ryan. Welcome, Ryan McLean. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, this little old channel is chugging along. you know, doing this for 10 years and still I just barely have 1,500 subs. I think most people would consider that a big failure, but that's okay. I don't do this for money. I don't make money doing this, but I appreciate you guys who stuck around with me for the year through the years. I like some dirt racing in stock cars. I wouldn't mind NASCAR adding a couple of dirt tracks, but only if the cars were allowed to be set up for it. And let them replace second visits to super speedways. Yeah, I'm not a dirt racing fan. I hate to say it. I don't know, man. Uh, I'm not a fan. Even the Bristol race. I mean, some people seem to like it, and I don't want to rain on their parade. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. There's too many gimmicks right now in NASCAR, and I just think if they added more dirt racing, it's stick to what's historically been good to you. And to me, the mile-and-a-half tracks have been the bread and butter of NASCAR. I'm not saying this should be the only tracks, but we have enough of the other tracks. Don't add more short tracks. Don't add more. It's already too many road courses. They destroyed Atlanta, and for what? You could make your own team and stadium in a bunch of EA's football games. Yeah. Was it EA? I don't remember if it was EA. I don't, you know what? It's been a long time. But I remember playing a football game where you could make your own team, your own stadium, something like that. But yeah, it's a long time ago. Unless this is a recent EA. Wait a minute. No, I do. I think you could. I haven't played a Madden football game in a long time. That's so. Do you think they will release a Heat 5 update, or should players forget about that and definitely think it's still coming? Yeah, it's coming. It's not ready. Now, I'm going to say something, and I said this before already, but I'm going to repeat it. I've had several people ask me about the update. They delayed the update, and honestly, I think people should be glad they delayed it. I know a lot of people are mad, they don't want to wait, but it's one of the few things they've done in terms of making a decision that I can agree with. Motorsport games, if something's not ready, don't release it. Okay? because they're already on life support. Could you imagine if they release this and it's full of bugs and glitches or actually makes the game worse? They know that's the final nail on the coffin. So that's why they're delaying it. The DLC is just not ready. And I hope people aren't expecting too much. It's basically a skin. They said they're gonna update the sound and stuff like that, but don't expect too much. It's a fucking just an update. Um, and yeah, make sure everything works the way it's supposed to before you release it. This is actually a good decision. Now, the chances they could still release it later down the line, and it turns out to be a disaster. But at least they're not just rushing it out. That to me is the worst thing they could do. So I got to give them a little bit of credit to delay it because it's obviously not ready. Whether or not it comes out in 2022, I don't know. The end of the year is right around the corner. At first, I thought that it would definitely be out, but who knows? But what's important is that when they do release it, that everything works the way it's supposed to, because that's all they got right now. Madden 2003 for sure. I remember all the ridiculous names and team jersey and everything. Yeah, 2003. That was a long fucking time ago. That's why I don't fucking remember it that much. They just failed to use that thought process when they released the game. Yeah, that was my thing from the beginning. That game was nowhere near ready. But you know what? Even if they delayed that game for a full year, it's just a mess. It's a mess. So you don't think the cancel call will affect that? Yeah, listen, the canceled conference call I don't think has anything to do with the uh, the update. I don't think those conference calls they're 95% Wall Street business talk. Um, they don't really reveal much, and whatever they do reveal in terms of game development is usually just bullshit. So yeah, they that one thing has it doesn't have. I don't think it has anything to do with that. Whoever's working on it, they're still working on it. I think they just want to get it ready. I just yeah, I don't think the cancel call has anything to do with that. I think the cancel call has more to do with that reverse stock split they just did. They're trying to set. They don't want to do a conference call when everything is still in the air. They want to make sure they got everything in a row where they could bullshit their investors properly. NCAA football 2007 and Madden and '07. I distinctly spent hours customizing jerseys, end zones, grass type, team logo. Yeah, I didn't remember exactly. But you see what I mean? You spent hours just customizing jerseys, end zones, grass type, team logos, playbooks, fight songs, weather. A lot of people dismiss these little details like, oh, these things don't, these details matter. A lot of these details are things you remember years later. I always find that stuff enjoyable and it adds a lot to a career mode or it's more immersive. Like I like stuff like that. These games now they're so fucking plain, especially NASCAR games. It's just okay, jump in the car, race, and then you're out of the car. Then you go, you point, you click, and it's just there's nothing else going on. Could have college games where the entire teams were just mascots. Yeah, I saw somebody doing that. I think in a video at one point. I'm very excited for the new college football game coming in 20. Yeah, I heard there's a college game coming out. And yeah, anything is better than Madden football. So I'm looking forward to anything that's not attached to EA. I've got to duck out tonight. Good night, everyone. Thanks. All right, man. Thank you for coming. And next time I'll try to have my shit ready where I'm not stumbling all over myself. Yeah, we're over an hour in. Thanks for spending some time with me, guys. There's nothing really new to talk about. And yeah, we're just waiting around. So hopefully we get something to talk about soon. If not, I'll see you guys around. Uh, you guys have a good one. I'm gonna call it a night. The new game is based on the Madden engine. Oh my God, are we leaving this with that? That is not good. Even the Major League Baseball show games, you can create your own ballparks and whatnot. Yes, everyone else is doing things that we don't see in NASCAR games. Oh. All right, guys. I gotta go. I'll see you guys around again, and thanks for showing up. NASCAR game with track designer. Oh man, see, there's a lot of good stuff, a lot of good ideas out there. Yep. All right, guys. All